All right, so I think the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to kind of I'm going to give you the checklist, and then I'm going to talk through the various pieces on it, and we can go from there. I think that's how I'm going to structure this. So I'm going to drop the link for the checklist in a second. It is a Google Drive link, so you should be able to access that via Google Drive. It's going to be for a PDF, which should be accessible for most folks, I think. I hope. I mean, you can definitely use a trebuchet, but that's not probably going to get you as many book sales as you think unless you film it. If you film yourself launching your book with a trebuchet, I think that might accomplish something. It's what it sounds like. Yep, helicopter drop. There are definitely ways that you could launch your book that do not involve my checklist, but how do you get trebuchet? Well, I know there are places that you can get plans for them online, and I know folks who've built one. So, I know that's a thing that can happen. But that is not the kind of launch we're talking about today. So this is going to be kind of long, so I'm actually going to start us at 6 for once on time. So there is the link to the PDF. Let me know when you've got it open, and we can start discussing the contents of said PDF. To those who were just joining us, the reason I'm talking about book launches today is because my book is launching on Thursday. I'm doing an online book launch on Twitch, and I've been up to my neck in book launch planning for a while now, so that is why we're talking about this subject today. And if you haven't launched a book before, or even if you have, I've got this checklist as I just linked, and for those of you watching on YouTube, it's going to be down below in the description section, so you're going to get it too. Yep, 3 months prep time. Now, some authors do far more rapid release than that. So this is not a one-size-fits-all sort of situation. Some authors condense all of this into a much shorter time frame. I am not a rapid release author, so I'm working 3 months out. My publishing business is actually Insomnia Publishing, but 13 Cents Short is my author brand, and it's going to be my editing branding and stuff, because if anybody wants to know that story, I'll tell it sometime, but it boils down to, it's sort of like being, just almost there, but never quite. So, and timeline-wise, I actually mentioned that in the email I have going out about my book launch, Ellie. So for me, I planned my wedding a year in advance. Because we were doing everything ourselves, so I wanted the extra time. And in this case, I am doing a book launch about 3 months in advance because it just seems like it's a good enough time frame. And the reason I use 3 months is because there are a lot of book reviewers out there who want a 90-day lead time if you're going to be sending your book. And that is things like Publishers Weekly. They do book reviews, and if you want them to review your book, it has to be 90 days before the publication date. Well, it's not as bad as it seems, and this is just launch day lead. This isn't even book production. This is just preparing for your launch day. It's not as bad as it sounds. So, if everybody's got it, we'll start going through this. And yes, some of it can be delegated. Some of it are just things that are going to be happening for you while you're doing this. So, looking at the 3-month mark, at the 3 months before your launch date, and you should have set your launch date relatively well in advance if possible. Again, this does not apply to rapid release people. You guys do your own thing, which is very different, but the way that I'm looking at this is about 3 months beforehand, you want to have your book as edited as it's getting. All your edits are done, and you want to have your typesetting finished, you need your cover done, and all of that. Your book should be ready to go. Once it's ready to go, and you can also wait to assign your publication date until you hit that point when everything's done. So you don't need to assign your publication date, then rush to meet it. You can always wait until you're finished, then set it for 3 months from when you have everything finished. Now, deciding on your distribution method. There are multiple methods of distribution. There is Ingram Spark, which is, for print books, kind of the bog standard. You could go with KDP if you're just going to be doing print books on Amazon. There's Draft to Digital, which is an ebook distribution service, or you can manually upload your book to all of the distributors, which I don't recommend if you like yourself. If you don't like yourself, then, well, that's on you. You will want to assign your ISBNs at this point, which will also be included in the finished typesetting and everything. That is a very important step because, again, some reviewers, certain outlets, they want an ISBN attached to the book. If you don't know what an ISBN is, we can discuss that at another time. Just know that it is a thing that you should have for a novel. Yes, ISBNs are not free. If you're just doing an Amazon launch, you don't need an ISBN. If you're just uploading it there and nowhere else. But if you're going to have your book anywhere except Amazon, ISBNs, you have to purchase them. And they are not extremely cheap, but they are worth it, and they offer protections and allow your book to be picked up, cataloged, and distributed to, like, bookstores. Without an ISBN, a bookstore will never carry your book. At this point, also, you should upload your files to your printer, and if you're doing a print copy, as early as you can, get a print proof for review. I'll talk about that later. I'd have to double check. I think it's like $200 for 10 of them, but I'd have to double check. It's not excessive anyway. So at that point, upload your files to your printer, get a proof book, and then look through the proof. I'm glad I did that with mine because my proof copy, which I have since given to somebody, there were a couple chapter headings that were the wrong font. And there were some issues with, like, some chapter breaks and stuff that I had to go back and fix. So that is a thing. And yeah, Ellie, it might be because they had some kind of special deal with Bowkers. That's possible. But they are not $8 now, I don't think. Anyway, and once you have your files done and you've uploaded everything and you're set to go, that's when you start approaching reviewers. I started approaching reviewers in the beginning of November. And that's when you start, because a lot of them want a 90-day lead time, particularly the big outlets, because they've got a lot of turnaround. So the earlier you start approaching them, the more people you're going to be able to approach, and the more likely they are to say, yeah, we'll give you a shot. So that is really important. Make sure you start approaching them early. Yeah, 90-day lead time. Oh no. Perfect. At the 2-month mark, we're going to start doing things like our cover reveal on social media. I did mine early because I have ADHD and I couldn't wait, and my impulse is one, so I have revealed my cover early. Some people say you want to do your cover reveal a month before you launch. Other people say, earlier the better. I think 2 months is probably a good amount of time to reveal it. Again, this is assuming you're not doing rapid release, in which case your cover reveal might be a week before you publish. And you could do it that way if you wanted to, if you really want to hype things up, but recognize that if you hit the 2-month mark and you do a cover reveal, you can start using that on your marketing, which gives you a little bit longer of a lead time, pun intended, on your marketing prior to launch. So it's a balance. I don't remember exactly when I changed my release date for December to January. I think I did my cover release before that, but I don't remember. So once you've done your cover reveal, make sure you make banners for your marketing website, for like your social media, like my Twitter. My banner shows my book cover and everything in it along with the launch date. So you want to make your banners for your various locations about 2 months beforehand and change those banners to something saying, hey, I've got a book coming out, so you can start getting the hype up. And also people will start seeing the cover and start having that recognition. At the 2 months before, again, I did this early, but you can start telling your street team and build your street team to help with your book launch. So these are people who are going to read your book, review it on launch day if possible, buy copies, who are really excited and just want to get the word out. These are your, core super fans. You're also some really close friends and family who are really involved in this whole process and really excited about it. If somebody isn't super excited about it, don't include them. Not because you're being a jerk, but if they're not going to work to get the hype out there, don't include them in the launch team, because then they're just dead weight you're dragging around. I can talk about a street team on a later date, but that is something you should be doing at this point. You also want to make sure that the files are now uploaded to your distribution network. and make sure that you enable pre-orders at this point. About 2 months. Some people say you want to do pre-orders like 1 month beforehand. If you want to wait to enable the pre-orders until the 1 month mark, that's okay. It's all about like playing with what works for you. I did it earlier. If you do it closer, apparently it does something for your Amazon rankings if a bunch of people buy the book. So if you've got a really like incredibly anticipated release, you might want to do it in a tighter time frame, which will boost your Amazon rankings, but that's Amazon, nonsense. That's kind of an up to you sort of situation. Do some research. 2 months before, if you're using Ingram Spark, make sure you upload your books to them at this point. Or if you haven't already uploaded, do it now and double check, because Ingram and KDP, if they find an error in your book, or if there's a problem with one of the files, they will not email you and tell you there's a problem with one of the files. You have to go in there and look for it, which is really frustrating. Like, I really wish that Ingram Spark, when they do the book review and when they're doing the review of the files, that their system auto-generated an email saying, hey, there's a problem with your book. And if it did, I could see it without having to remember to go back to Ingram all the time, which, again, ADHD, not always the best with the memory part, so that's a problem. But they don't, so you're going to want to double check and make sure everything is going okay. And at this point, you're going to start networking with other authors and bloggers to, like, publicize your launch event. Like, I've got a few author friends who I know are going to be putting posts out to their people on their various social media feeds and their newsletters that I'm launching a book, that they're excited to do that with me. And so you're going to want to kind of network with folks. If you know somebody has a newsletter, say, hey, are you willing to, I would suggest doing this with people you know, or if you don't know them, offer them something in return, That's just polite. And also at that point, you're going to start planning your launch day. If you're doing an in-person event, you're going to need to start thinking about your venue, like a local bookstore or a library. You might need to book in advance with them. So talk to those people. If you're doing it like I am online, well, I don't need to talk to anybody and plan it that way, because I just go live on Twitch and ta-da, here I am. But start planning about like what your launch day is going to look like and what you want to do. Like, so some people, if you're having a big party and you want to order a cake, you might want to order it in advance so that, that's all set. So again, sort of like Ellie mentioned, it's a little bit like wedding planning in that way, sort of. Then 1 month before your book launch, that is, you can enable distribution for pre-orders. That's the usual advice, is about a month, which is best for the algorithms. I did it early, but again, that's going to be like a learning curve sort of thing. I've heard you want to do it 1 month before, but again, I got just too excited and did it way early because I'm a dingus like that, which I know doesn't help boost my Amazon rankings. I'm not an expert in Amazon. I'm actually taking an Amazon ads course next week to learn more about that, so stay tuned. Maybe I'll have some better advice in regards to this. Also, during that 1 month before the book launch, like, start hitting your social media with hype. Like, you want everybody to know, I'm doing this thing, it's coming up, and like, make sure everybody knows about it. That means your personal social media, your author social media, any other channels you have, like, I've talked about it on TikTok, I'm talking about it to you folks, I talk about it on Twitter, like, wherever you are. Also, all my friends and family know that this is happening and are very excited. So the more hype and excitement you can generate in your community, the better, and you're going to want to do that like a month out. Also, because anybody that is going to be coming to your event, it gives them time to plan and schedule it. You also, like, at the 1 month mark, you want to finalize your plans for your launch event. At the bottom of this, I have an example of what my launch event looks like right now. It may not stay perfect in this order, but that's kind of what I'm planning for. You're going to want to order, if you can, author copies for signing. I did not order them a month ago, so mine are not going to be here in time for my launch event, but since my launch event is online, having signed copies in person doesn't really matter so much as far as my launch day event. But if you're, say, doing a book launch at a bookstore, you're going to need to have copies for people to buy. Because if there aren't any copies there for people to buy, you're not going to sell any books. Yeah, I'm sure you can probably follow that logic. So if you're doing an in-person event, make sure you've got copies so that people can buy them from you. If you're not doing an in-person event at a bookstore and you're just doing an ebook, you can do basically what I'm doing with my book launch and you'll be fine. You don't have to do print copies of your book. This is just making sure the infrastructure for your day is there. Also, you want to start considering like giveaways and promotions to do at your launch. I've got 2 to 3 giveaways, 3 being a secret number that not everybody knows about yet. Lead, I mean, yes, but at the same time, I know a lot of people who waited for the print book to come out before they even ordered a copy because they want my name on their bookshelf. Like, I know people who just wanted my name on their bookshelf because we're friends and that mattered to them. So ebooks are great and all, they truly are, but print books also have some really important and valuable aspects to them that are not going to go away. So I don't hate ebooks. I love them. In fact, that's mostly what I read. Like, hi, this is my Kindle. But at the same time, I also really like print books because also my friends loan me print books that I can work on and read. And I'm enjoying reading that. I just held up Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. So that is a thing that you really should think about is, you know, whether if you want to do print books. Now, print books are an investment, and they may not be logical for everybody. Not everyone needs to do print books, but if you're doing them, have some at your launch event so you can sign them. Because signed copies are a great marketing tool because everybody likes to have signed author copies. Everyone likes autographs from famous people, and at this point, authors are kind of famous people. They're starting to head that way. Any giveaways, you're not famous yet. But if you have a book out, that means you're an expert and you're starting to head towards getting name recognition. That's the whole point of this. So yeah, giveaways. I'm also doing a giveaway for my husband. He made this phenomenal chainmail dice bag that has an angel wing on it. It's going to be visible in the video that I'm going to do giveaway at my launch. And that is a giveaway. And I'm doing an ebook copy of my book for free. And I'm also going to be doing a secret third giveaway that nobody else knows. So you can just wait in anticipation of that if you're going to be joining me. So think about those. And think about things you want to do to promote it. Which is fine, Lead. I'm really poor myself, I understand. My giveaways are, like, my husband made a dice bag that I'm going to be giving away. The materials were not extremely expensive, but, like, retail price, it's like a $40 thing. But I know somebody who makes soap, and she made soap bars to give away. So you don't have to necessarily buy a bunch of stuff to do giveaways, but it might be fun. That said, ebook copies of your book are a great giveaway. So that's perfectly fine. And also make sure that if you are doing a physical item, that shipping is something you think about, because something like the dice bag is going to be pretty heavy, and shipping that's going to be a pain in the butt. So that one is only limited to, like, domestic US. The other ones are going to be worldwide, because an ebook I can ship anywhere, and the other thing is going to cost very little to ship, even if it is international. Anyway, I also am doing a promotion. I'm pairing with a friend of mine who is doing a special line of bath bombs to celebrate my book launch, actually, and I'm going to be pairing with him to do some fun stuff. So think about things that you can do to help promote your book and some fun stuff you might do. Even if you only come up with, like, hey, join me for my launch day and we'll play video games together or something. That's fine too. Like, it doesn't have to be money. Yeah, Teague, I will talk to you about that. I'm really excited about it. I'll do some discussing about that towards the end of this, so I can get through this list. Make sure you double check your files with your distributors, because like I said, they won't tell you if something is wrong. You're gonna have to go in and find out. So make sure you check at the 1 month mark, just to make sure that if you have to change something, you have a little bit of breathing room to change it, and it takes a couple of days for those changes to go live. So you're going to want to make sure that you made those changes. For example, I just discovered a little while ago that I had to change my copyright page to include something because I quoted from a Bible that if I didn't copyright, if I didn't put the right thing in copyright, I could get sued by the Queen of England, I think. So I didn't really want to be sued by the Queen of England. Like, she's got enough problems in suing me. I don't want to deal with it. So I had to go change the copyright page. I had enough lead time before that, but that's a pain. Yeah, you could do stickers. That's another option. You could, there's sticker paper. So you buy special paper that the stickers would print out on, then you'd cut them out and ta-da, you have stickers. So that's a thing. Let's see, where was I? Sorry, I got distracted. Right, at the 1 month mark, you're also going to want to make sure your newsletter, when it goes out, talks about your launch if you can. Let people know that there is one. Start letting people know your newsletter exists if you haven't before. Make sure that you have all of the pre-order bonuses if you have any pre-order bonuses in the newsletter, and make sure your newsletter's set to go. Like mine, I'm planning on doing a special edition of mine on my launch day. It's going out and will include links to the giveaways, which I'm running through a website called Rafflecopter. Yeah, the copyright thing is really frustrating, particularly since I'm quoting the Bible. But in this case, I'm quoting a specific translation of the Bible, which is owned by this particular company and copyrighted this way, that way, the other way. It's just... Fortunately, I'm well within legal use of that, because you can use up to 500 verses, and I use about 8 total. So I'm well within my rights to use it. I just needed to update my copyright page with their correct copyright information. I cited it, but I didn't cite it the way they wanted it cited, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't run into legal hot water. So that's something that, if anybody's quoting the Bible, make sure that the copy you're using to quote from is one that you're allowed to do that with, or you use the proper copyright information. Lead, that is, no. Both of those things are wrong. So they're copyrighting the translation of the Bible, their specific translation that they paid for. That's copyrighted. The Bible itself is well out of copyright, but I wasn't writing it in Hebrew or Greek, so that's where we're at. Anyway, also at the 1 month mark, create a Goodreads page for your book if you have not already. And that might mean contacting a Goodreads librarian, but make a Goodreads page for your novel. And that way, when it does go live for pre-order, and when you're ready for launch, all of the links will be available in Goodreads. People can just select a drop-down and find it wherever it's sold, and find it from there, which is really nice. And it's a convenient landing page, so if you want to sell your book, you can send people the Goodreads page, and they'll be able to see it, see where it's purchasable, the formats it's in. It's a good tool, so you're going to want to set up a Goodreads page. If you have not set up your author page on Amazon at that point, you're also going to want to do that, but that's kind of a separate thing, which has to do more with preparing to sell your book as an author. I have another checklist for author marketing stuff that's on. Finally, 1 week before, at this point, I'm kind of really deep into that space. Try and stay excited, not terrified, because fear is the mind killer. I'm terrified, but I'm trying to just be as excited as I can be, because, it's launching a book is like sending your kids to school for the first time. On one hand, it's a lot of fun. On the other hand, it's terrifying because, my baby's all grown up. So that's, the feels. Heather, yes, that is absolutely true. There is a... You're correct. I should move that earlier. But if you hadn't done it by now, at least at the 1 month mark, you need to. Again, this is assuming that people haven't been doing a really long lead time where they're preparing for all of this stuff. The week before also, double check that you have all of the physical things you need for your launch. That means, like, do you need food for a physical launch? Do you need signed copies of your book? Do you need table tents to go to a physical launch, which would be like the cover of your book? That's another marketing thing. Do you have your swag and your prizes and your giveaway stuff ready? Do you have all the technology you need for your live stream? Like right now, I'm still struggling because my webcam is kind of broken and I'm trying to get a new one. But I'm also looking at, like, right now I bought like some brackets and I've been messing with my setup to make sure that I have the best possible setup for my launch, technologically wise, since I'm doing it online. Anagram, absolutely. If you're doing it in person in times of COVID, you want to make sure that all the physical measures are in place, like make sure you've got your N95 if you're going to be doing a launch in person right now, or, all the hand sanitizer on the planet so you can bathe in it between signings, whatever it is you need to do. That's honestly, COVID's the reason that my book launch is online, and part of the reason my book launch is also online rather than having a big in-person party is because a large percentage of my friends and fans live on the computer for me. So this way I get to celebrate with everybody who matters to me, whether in person or at distance. And if I want to have a small get-together with friends and family later, I can, but right now it's not safe, so. But yeah, you want to make sure, like, the week before, double check that you have all the things you need. Like, since I'm doing some watercolor painting on my live event, I wanted to make sure I got watercolors. I have my paints all set up. I know what I'm going to be doing for my art. So I have all of that stuff prepared. Right, so and you don't have to do a physical launch party. If you're not doing a physical launch party, I mean, I'm not, you can do a digital one, and I have information for that in the final segment of this piece. My nose itches. Also, during the final week before your launch, you want to make sure your website is ready. Do you have, like, one of the things that I did is I'm creating a store on my website where people can buy signed copies, as well as this signed copy bath bomb bundle that I'm working on, which I'm really excited about. And that's going to be, like, I have it in my website, but it's not live to the public yet because it's not finished. But it is in my website, and it will be ready to go on launch day. So you're going to want to make sure you have that all ready to go. Make sure your website's updated with all of the correct information. Because if your launch day, for example, people go to your author website and your book's not there, or there aren't links to where they can buy it, or it looks like a disaster, you're going to lose people, and that's going to be awful for you. So don't do that. Make sure your website's ready to go a week beforehand, because websites sometimes do things. Also, in the week before, write yourself an outline for how you'd like your launch party to go. Like, I have an itinerary, an order of service or order of operations for my launch party. Now, me being ADHD and possibly autistic, like, I like having plans for exactly when things are going to happen for me, because otherwise I get really stressed. But I created an outline, which some of you may have seen in the document because you scrolled down. That's in there, so I know what I'm doing. So that might be really helpful. Particularly, think of it like, again, relating it to wedding planning, sort of treat it like planning a wedding. When are you going to throw the flowers? When are you going to do the first dance? Like, think of it like that and plan things out. It doesn't need to be to the minute. Like, I don't have time labeled on all of my pieces. I just have a rough order of what I'm going to do them in. And so I know, like, okay, so I'm going to start with this, and that's okay. But whatever method makes sense for you, you're going to want to plan how you want your launch day to go. Make sure you're prepared for your event. So I am going to be on Tuesday. My sisters are coming by and they're doing a manicure for me because I can't do them on my own without getting migraines, and my sisters do nail art. So they're going to be doing a nice manicure for me for my launch day. Make sure that if you need a haircut, you get a haircut. Like, I know this is stuff that might seem, whatever, but if you're going to be on cam or seeing people in person, you're going to need to make sure that you've got, you look good. Because that includes, like, planning your outfit. I know what I'm wearing. My husband even got me this amazing shirt for Christmas that I'm going to be wearing, so I'm excited to show that off. So that kind of thing, you're going to want to show off what you're doing. So that also includes, like, I mean, lead, that's not entirely wrong, but you're going to want to, like, make sure that you do things that are going to be enticing people to buy your book. So that's not a bad idea, but we'll have to take a look at some of those pieces, which I know that was tongue-in-cheek, but If you're having a digital event, which I am, make sure the space you're going to be in during your event is prepared. So, like right now, I've got my green screen behind me, and I'm going to be using my green screen, I think, during the event. And I'm also going to be recording the watercolor painting, which is going to be on my desk. I need to make sure that that looks neat. I mean, yeah, if you just have a wall behind you, that's fine. Like, if you want to, you could put something up on the wall, like hang something behind you, but you don't have to. If it's just a blank wall, that's okay. Nobody wants to see what it looks like behind my green screen. It is a disaster back there. Nobody needs to see that. And I would rather, like, not show that off during a launch event because, this is supposed to be professional, so I'm trying to make sure everything looks good. I mean, now you know it's a disaster, but you don't have to see the disaster. Right. So, in this list of things down below that I had for a digital launch event, I have a green screen, and I linked to that. I don't know about its availability outside the United States, but it's actually a pretty easy thing to do, and all of the software I have that does green screening is free. Like, on the YouTube video, you're gonna see, like, my head cut out and I'm floating in the darkness. And that's because I have my green screen behind me, and OBS automatically does some chroma key stuff, as does my post-processing software that I sometimes use. So that is really cool. So it doesn't have to be expensive, or you just buy a green sheet and tack it to the wall behind you and call it good. You can do that too. That is fine. But anyway, so you make sure that you have your space if you're doing a digital one. If you want to stay anonymous during the launch party, you don't have to have a camera on your face. It would probably be better if you have a camera on something. Maybe, like, show your sketchbook if you're drawing, like, draw a special party for the, a special piece of art for the launch party. But recognize that you're not going to be able to stay anonymous forever if you want to be an author. You cannot just stay anonymous. I mean, you can, sort of, but your name is going to become brand recognition. Now you can use a pen name, and you can, lie about what your name is, like if you're doing a pen name, but unless you turn it into a gimmick, which may or may not work for you, and certainly wouldn't work in certain genres, you can't just stay anonymous forever. It does not work. Anyway, so the week before, encourage folks to pre-order your book. It'll boost your Amazon ranking, that much I know. So, like, really get out there, start marketing your book, trying to get out, hammer your social media, let everybody know you are launching a book. Tell everyone. Who is in your target market? If you're launching a really raunchy erotica novel, you probably don't want to sell it to your grandma unless your grandma's into that kind of thing. If she's into that kind of thing, fantastic. But if she's not, you get my point. Then let people know that your launch event is happening. Don't just tell them to buy your book, but tell them about your event if they're going to be able to come. Like, I have been telling everybody about my Twitch event because everybody's invited and everyone can come. Whether it's online, whether they're in person, it doesn't matter. Everybody's invited, which is one of the reasons I went with Twitch instead of going with, say, Discord, because Discord, people would have to join the server and they'd have to find it and they'd have to have Discord, whereas Twitch, you just navigate to the website. You don't even need a login. You just can go. I could do YouTube Live, but there's less interaction with YouTube Live. I prefer Twitch. Personally, anyway. So that was my choice. But make sure you've done, like, your invitations to the people you want to come. Then you encourage your pre-orders. Let's see, do your final check through your distributor files. I know I've mentioned this like 3-4 times now because I'm paranoid. I have had issues where things didn't go live on launch day because there were issues with files before. And Amazon or Ingram or whoever didn't tell me until the last minute that there was an issue with the file. So I'm paranoid about this. But again, just check your files. Keep checking them. Make sure they're right. Make sure you uploaded the right version. Be paranoid. Because if you didn't, you've made a terrible mistake. And, at that point, like, make sure your newsletter subscribers, you've created a launch day email. Ideally, you should have a newsletter at this point before then. And you should be sending them content regularly, whether it's once a month, twice a month, whatever your schedule is, but make sure you also have a special launch day newsletter that goes out and lets everybody on your newsletter know that you've got a book coming up, maybe, whatever it is. That's a really important aspect of all of this. Teague, that is something that we can talk about, scheduling your newsletter. So I have mine twice a month. It's on the 15th and the 30th because that's easy to remember. And it I schedule it in my email notification builder, and then it automatically goes out. I don't need to send it manually, which means that I don't need to rely on my memory to do this. Also, like scheduling tweets and Facebook posts, because my memory is horrendous, I use Hootsuite myself to do all of my social media automation, so I don't need to think about it, which I know isn't available to some folks, which is really tragic, but there are various services available to let you schedule things. And also, I know Facebook and Twitter have functions that let you do, that allow you to schedule. Like, even if you have to manually go to your social media and schedule it, you can. But it'll save you a lot of headache in the long run. Nice, Anagram. I'm glad I reminded you. That's good, Nidnit. I'm glad you're finding things that work for you. All right, so the day before your book launch, take a look at your plans, your order of service, your itinerary for the day. Review it so that's fresh in your mind. Make sure all of the reminders are going to go up for social media, like, the book launch is happening tomorrow. Make sure that you've got the final, notifications. Test all your equipment if you're doing a digital launch, on Wednesday, I'm going to be setting up my rig exactly as all of this is going to be for my book launch, including OBS, and doing everything except to test the stream itself, because I don't really want to go live. But I'm going to set up everything and make sure it's all looks right, like it shows the part of my desk I want it to show, that I have all of my tools where I want them, that my desk is clean, because people are going to be looking at it, and if they were looking at it right now, it would be made of sadness, because it is a mess. But that's okay. It's not going to be a mess on launch day, which is really the important part. It can be a mess right now and covered with, I've got my gaming controller and ice packs and all kinds of medical stuff all over it. Yep, if my cats migrate to the desk while I'm doing my live stream, well, honestly, at that point, it's just bonus points, because everybody loves a cat. So that's the thing. Also, the day before your launch, make sure you rest. If you aren't rested for your launch, you will be exhausted and will not have as much fun or be as good at the launch. I'm playing on a hard mode because I have a crappy medical procedure happening the day before my launch, and on my launch day, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. So that's going to be a fun thing, but I couldn't schedule my medical procedure any other time because COVID and getting into the MRI is almost impossible right now. So that's frustrating. So I'm getting a contrast injected MRI the day before my book launch, and those are excruciating for me, and I'm not looking forward to that. So that's going to be fun. But rest if you can, relax, check out your outfit, lay it out before you go to bed, toast yourself with your favorite drink, don't get drunk, but whatever you need to do to be calm and happy and excited and just enjoy the day. Launch day, I know this may sound kind of stupid, but make sure you eat your breakfast if you can. Even if you just have a meal replacement shake. I know the day of my launch, I'm going to have jitters. My launch isn't until 6 p.m. my time. But the chances of me being able to do anything except, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, all day are very small. My launch is on Thursday of this coming week at 6 p.m. I'm going to be announcing it here too. I'm doing it over on Twitch. I've shared my Twitch link. I will share it again. So anybody here who wants to come is more than welcome. I would love to see you folks. I'm really nervous, so if you come and just hang out with me a little bit, it'll make me happier. Yeah, it's gonna be really late for you. If you would rather go to bed, I'm not gonna blame you. Anybody for who it is 2 a.m., I will not feel as if you don't love me if you prefer to sleep. But if you can come and hang out, I would love it. It should be a pretty fun time. It's gonna be hour and a half. I think, most likely. On the day of, so yeah, make sure you eat your breakfast. Arrive at your venue early. If you are doing a live stream, make sure you've got everything set up early so that when you get close to time, you can just hit, like, for me, since I'm using OBS, it'll just be clicking start streaming and start recording, and then ta-da! But make sure you arrive a little early. I'm going to be doing like a 10-minute countdown on my live stream, I think. So I hope that, I think that's going to be a good thing. But make sure you arrive early enough that you can be ready. If you're doing it in person, show up in time to set up tables or whatever you need to do if you didn't do it the day before. Make sure you post reminders if you have them scheduled. You don't need to think about this, but tell everybody how excited you are on your social media. Like, tell the world how excited you are, because launching a book is a big deal. Like, it's not nothing. So tell people about it and be excited. And then finally, enjoy your launch event. Like, you've done all this planning. It should hopefully go according-ish to plan, because nothing ever goes perfectly according to plan, but it should go according-ish to plan. Below that, I have a digital launch tool set for anybody who wants to launch online. So I suggest doing a live stream on a streaming outlet of your choice, whether it is YouTube Live, Facebook Live, TikTok Live, which I was going to do until I realized you had to have 1,000 followers on TikTok, and I was like, well, that's not happening anytime soon. So, or Twitch, or whatever platform you choose, consider doing a live stream. If you don't want to show your face, show something, maybe live stream you playing a video game and being on mic if you want to do that. But think about things that would be interesting to your target audience too. Don't just think about things that would be interesting to you. So if it's going to be, something that you're trying to reach your audience with, make sure it's something they want to see. So lead, you doing drawing of, you're doing an animal drawing would 100% match with some of the things that people who are interested in your book would like to see. So if you have a video of your desk while you're doing some drawing and talking about things, that would be perfectly fine. You don't need to show your face. Showing your face is definitely a positive because it allows people to connect with you a little better, but it's not a requirement, so no judgment. And lead, if nobody shows up, I mean, that would suck. It would hurt a lot. But at the same time, you should plan. And if nobody shows up, like, if that's your big fear, if you market it enough in advance, tell people enough in advance, if you hype your book enough in advance, people are going to want to come. Like, I have strangers I've never met from groups that I just randomly posted, hey, I'm having a luncheon and I'm nervous. If you want to just come hang out with me while I'm doing this, that would be great. And I'm being honest about the fact that I'm scared. And people are connecting with that and saying, yeah, I'll come hang out. That's fine. I can come chill while you do this. That's cool. I mean, yeah, you could do that. That would be fun, but where do you hype people up? Yeah, that comes back to marketing. It depends on the book you're launching. So for me, I've used a combination of Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram a little bit, but Instagram isn't really where my target market hangs out a ton. But you use the social media method or the general method of your choice for connecting with the audience that you're trying to reach. So it kind of depends on what book it is. So you just want to find out where the people who are excited about your book hang out and reach them. And that's a slightly different conversation, though it is related, and I'm happy to talk more about marketing, but I had changed off that subject because people were like, yes, we get it. We need to market our book. Please talk about something else for a while, for a while back there. So, anyway, going back to this, for your digital launch tool chest, make sure you have the camera or cameras, because I'm going to be doing 2 necessary and ready for your launch. I'm doing 2 cameras. I'm doing one of my face and one of my desk, so that people can watch the watercolor painting and see me on camera while I'm doing it. Think about your set. Like I've talked about, I've got my green screen behind me. But if you're not doing a green screen and you just have a wall, you could put a colorful sheet on it. You could just leave it white. White's fine. You could try green screening it. You could do a whole bunch of things, or just leave it as is. That's okay. You want to make sure your lighting is good. So I have a small ring light that I use to light my face when I'm recording so that I'm not incredibly dark, because my space is dark and I'm usually recording in the depths of the night. since I'm a vampire, by which I mean an insomniac. So think about what you want your set to look like. Then, if you write out your order of operations like I have below, and plan for some unstructured Q&A time in there while you chat with people, it's good. Like, this is a celebration of your book launch and a marketing event, so you're going to want to kind of combine those. I mean, that's not just digital, but that is a thing. Prepare your important links ahead of time and consider setting up a Linktree account. So Linktree, Linkttree, is a useful, basically it's like a little mini kind of catch-all website thing. And what you do is you tell it, it's a list of buttons with links on them, and you can tell it where you are on social media, and it'll list your social media and as well as any buttons that you want to have available. So I'm using it for to send, Linktree is great. To send people, I can send them just the Linktree link and they can find my book in a few different places, find me on social media, find my author website, and my newsletter sign up, all in one little location, and I can just send out one link. Makes my life so much easier. You can pay for it, but all paying for it gets you is a couple of bells and whistles that are like, So it's not like necessary to pay for it in order to use it really effectively. But my plan is to just send out the Linktree link in the chat every so often so people can go to that, which will save me a lot of like copy pasting like 300 really long, ugly links from various different retailers for my book. So that might be a really useful thing. And even if you're not doing a digital launch, you might want to set up a Linktree so that at events, you can also generate a QR code for Linktree. So you could have a little placard that people could scan with their phone and it would pop up all your links and let them find you. So really useful little tool and doesn't have to cost any money. If you're doing giveaways, make sure you're prepared for that. I'm using Rafflecopter for my giveaways to help aggregate them and then choose a winner. It'll save me a headache of trying to like pick numbers out of a hat. Like I'd toyed with the idea of just rolling dice, like grabbing my D&D dice and rolling D percentiles and seeing what happens. But I don't know how many people are going to sign up for this. And if I get like over 100, which I doubt, but if I magically get over 100 people who sign up for my giveaways, then I'm going to need to do something more than just some D percentile dice and so I'm just using, also Rafflecopter, again, is free unless you are wanting certain paid aspects of it, and using the free version is perfectly sufficient for what I'm doing. So that was kind of neat. I talked to a couple of authors and they use Rafflecopter. Also, other authors is where I heard about Linktree, so those are coming from multiple people. And also, if you're doing a digital one, consider having somebody available to moderate your chat for you. Like, my husband is going to help moderate my chat so that I'm not having to sit there and, like, say somebody shows up and tries to troll me. And I'm not having to fight with trolls while trying to market my book launch. My husband's just going to be able to, like, nope, you're out, while I'm sitting there watercolor painting and not having to deal with it. Because I'm going to be focused more on engaging with the people who aren't being jerks, assuming I get any trolls. I don't expect I will, but if anybody trolls me, I mean, sometimes things happen. Or bots. Sometimes bots come in and spam. That's a thing that can happen too. So be prepared for that. Finally, if you continue scrolling, you'll see my order of operations document down below it. This is actually just a notepad file that I copy pasted into this to show what my planning looks like. So you can see I've got the 2 giveaways. I do have a mystery third giveaway that isn't in there because I'm hiding it. Lead, I actually, on this document here, there are a couple of examples of some things on Amazon that I am using that give you, that work really well. There's the microphone arm I have a special bracket that holds my camera, and my camera being my phone, and it'll hold my phone so that I can angle it down at my desk at whatever angle I want it to be at, and it looks great. So, some of the links down below, which I will get to in a minute, might help with that. My launch party flow is, okay, cool. To go live, welcome folks, introduce myself, talk about like who I am, what my hobbies are, what I do, talk about the fact that I'm an editor, all this other stuff, like just, biographical information, introduce myself, then introduce my book. All of these are not necessarily in the order I'm going to be doing them in live. I just put them down so I remember to mention all of these things at least once. Then I'm going to introduce my book, talk about the genre, the comps, which are comparable work is what a comp is. I'm going to give my elevator pitch, talk a little bit about my main character, the inspiration for her, my setting, the inspiration for that. Also mention the fact that my husband has been integral in creating this. Without him and our work together, none of this would exist, so props where props are due. That's going to be in there. I'm going to do a reading from my book that nobody has heard yet. From what I've heard online during a book launch, you want to do a reading that is not the beginning or the end. You're going to want to pick a good portion of the book. Yeah, Mr. E is amazing. A portion of the book that is... Yep, you're Mr. E.
I'm Mr. E.
Oh, yeah, he's a mystery. He's a mystery writer. There we go. Haha, perfect. Mystery man. So, anyway... I chose something from towards the middle of my book that I'm going to be doing a short reading of. It's a really stressful scene, and so it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, so hopefully people are going to be like, okay, now I need to read the book to know what happens, because, and I'm going to talk about the giveaways after that, talk about my newsletter, talk about what's in it, what people can expect from it. I'm going to then talk about the signed copies that are going to be available, discuss the bath bomb thing, which I will talk to you guys a little about if I have some time. Then we're going to do a live buy where I encourage people to buy the book live, and they will get personally thanked by me if they do. Some people are into that. Also, while that happens, I'm going to do a Q&A, and during that time I'm going to be doing the watercolor painting. And then I'm going to talk about my future plans, like how I'm working on putting together a series of paid writing workshops. Lead, yeah, you could have someone else read it for you. You could record the reading in advance and then play it during that, and have that go live. If you would like to do it that way, that's certainly a thing that is possible. So, or practice, like until you at least get the passage you're reading to be what you want. You could definitely do that too. But you could have someone else read it for you. That is always an option. But the reading, an author reading their book has a kind of unique sort of experience, and people like to hear it because you can hear what the author wants for inflection and how they feel about the story. Then finally, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to do thank everybody who was part of this. I want to make sure that I mention the people who were important to me and how they helped and their influence, and then thank everybody, tell them where they can find me, and remind them about the raffle and that it ends at midnight. So that is kind of the setup. It's not going to be a really complicated thing. Like I said, it should take an hour-ish, hour and a half. I may hang out for longer. No, Lead, your reading doesn't... You sound fine, first off. You have an accent. You're not terrible at reading. You have an accent, and your accent is lovely. And if you're worried about it, just practice. Like, if you're really stressed, just practice reading it until it becomes, easier for you. Which is just a matter of, doing it over and over again. You can definitely make it happen, but your accent doesn't mean you suck at reading. Not at all. It's just part of you. Finally, down here at the bottom of the document I sent you, there are the links that I have for my software and hardware setup, so you can see what I'm going to be using for this project. I'm hoping the camera arrives in time, so cross your fingers that the webcam shows up on time. If not, I'm going to be using a much worse webcam, but I'm going to try. And for software, I'm using OBS, and I'm using Droid Cam is the name of the one that it lets me connect my phone to my computer as a camera, which is kind of neat. So that is I won't say quick because it was an hour, but that is the checklist that I have set up for launch day for authors. There were a couple things I said I was going to come back to. I don't remember what they were, so if you folks can remind me what I said I was going to come back to, that would be helpful. I'm not coming back to everything, Teague. Oh my gosh. I can't do it again. Oh, why are you like this? I thought we were friends. Yes, this is in fact being recorded and will be going up on the YouTube channel. So everything I said you will be able to see again Fair enough. Oh, right, I was going to mention the bath bomb thing. So, a neat promo I'm doing, a close friend of mine owns the company Pop Fission, which makes really cool, nerdy bath bombs. Like, incredibly, like, so he makes D&D inspired bath bombs with dice in them, more or less. Like, they're fun. And he's going to be making a unique and special bath bomb that's going to be limited run, inspired by the book. So the scents, the shape of it, the colors, everything about it is going to be inspired by the book. And so you can like just sit down in the tub with your bath bomb and read, and it'll be like full immersion. It's going to be super cool. What a bath bomb is, Lead, is it's a fizzing thing you put in bath water to make it smell nice and change the water color, and a lot of the time they include things that'll make your skin soft. Kataru, the name of the bath bomb company, they are Pop Fission. That will be available as a bundle on my website. If you buy a signed copy of the book and you get the bath bomb, it's going to be like about $30, I think, more or less, because author copies of my book have to be a little bit more than just ordering from Amazon because they have to get shipped to me first. And in order for me to make a profit on them, I need to kind of cover my look, okay, there are fairies in this. That's the whole point. Like, part of the reason that this is going to be excellent is because that is going to be part of my marketing. Like, actually get stolen away into the book. Please do. Bath bombs are not a US exclusive thing, though I know they're really big here. I think they're big in the UK too. They may not be as big everywhere else, but I don't think they're US exclusive. But they might be for all I know. I live in New Hampshire. What do I know about the rest of the world? um, so, anyway, so yeah, I'm partnering with them to do a limited run of a unique bath bomb, which is cool. Like, if you can come up with neat ways like that to market your book, like, a lot of people around here like to read in the bath too. Like, I don't know about the rest of the world, but reading in the bathtub is like, it's a thing. People enjoy it. And so pairing a nice, like a boutique, high quality bath bomb with the book lets you immerse yourself in the book all the better. So it's kind of a collector's item. And the minute I mentioned it, a lot of people were like, oh yes, yes, do want. So that's one of the reasons why I'm partnering with them. Also, the owner's a really dear friend of mine and has been for ages, so I'm really excited to get to do something with him that'll help his business. We are wrapping up. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask? Kataru, that is a thing, but, books dry typically, so. And also, the new Kindles are waterproof for exactly that reason. So that's a thing. um, so does anybody have any specific questions? Yeah, yeah, Teague. A friend of mine mentioned that to me. I'll have to double check the validity, but I think the brand new ones are waterproof because people like to read in the tub and keep dropping them. I've never dropped a towelette in the tub, but I have dropped a book in the tub a couple of times through my life, but not normally. Anyway, questions? Yep, that is definitely a thing that exists. Like, I don't know that I'd want to read in the shower, but like, I will sometimes play like podcasts in the shower. I do that. That is not lewd. Everybody showers. Showering isn't lewd. Oh, streaming in the shower. Yeah, that would be lewd. Um, I mean, generally speaking, bath bombs are not going to cause you any kind of physical issues. They're made with things that are gentle on the skin and designed for a long soak. Though, you'd have to talk to the manufacturer, like, but it's nothing in there that would harm your skin. I've used them and soaked for a couple of hours before, and all it did was make my skin lovely. So, And yes, anything can be lewd with enough creativity. I can't argue that. Yeah, exactly, Angel. Anagram, usually so if I'm gonna be in the bathtub for hours, usually I like run the water and like will like do stints of running hot water into the tub to keep it warm. Like when I was younger, I used to spend like 2, 3 hours in the bath reading because nobody bothered me. That's not a smart idea, but yeah. Well, I mean, this was when I was a kid. I don't soak in the bath that long now. Like these days, if I'm in the bath, it's gonna be like 40 minutes. But when I was a child, prying me away from my book was a challenge, and we had this huge iron claw and ball foot tub that was the most in it was just it was so comfortable and it was lovely and it was very deep. It was great. Thank you so much, Heather. And yeah, Angel, that is definitely one way it works. I don't think anybody has any questions. I am going to go downstairs and I'm not murdering my players this week. This week we're painting minis and having Chinese food. You are very welcome. I hope everybody has a great time. And I hope I will see some of you folks at my launch on Thursday. I will be posting the info in the announcements section so people can come and join if they would like to. Um, Bath dice. Yeah. Well, check out his website. You can get the bath dice. He sells a lot of neat stuff on there, so it's worth. Yes, I will definitely ping everybody in Discord. So I will talk to you later. Thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me and enjoy the. I hope that checklist is useful for some folks. If you have any questions about it, message me and I will talk to you all later.